All right, well, I guess I'll start even though no one's actually here. Alrighty, I think we'll get started. Looks like a few people are late, but we will go ahead and get started with the webinar about how to create your shot list in your unique wedding photo shot list in 5 simple steps. I'm Marianne Fisher, the co-founder of StoryMix Media, and we have the Wedding Mix app. So we have a very simple way for you to actually get your shot list in the hands of all of your friends. And I will show you the app real quick. We created the Wedding Mix app so that you can get a shot list in the hands of your friends right on the app, and they can really film your wedding story. So, let's see. So this is an example. Let's see if it'll show up. Nope. With the Wedding Mix app, we actually do have a shot list right here in the app, and you can tell your friends things like, I want to see silly guest tricks, or the rehearsal dinner, grandma drunk, whatever it is you want to put in your shot list. With Wedding Mix, you can get all of that. And that's what I'm going to work with you on tonight, is how to decide what you would actually like in your shot list. So let's go through. I'm going to share my screen so you can see my slides. Okay. All right, we're going to talk about how to build the perfect shot list in 5 simple steps. So, oh, and I do have the Q&A set up on the Hangout. So if you have any questions, go ahead and submit them on the questions tab, or you can tweet them to me at Wedding Mix, and I will try to answer them as they come through. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the perfect shot list, how you want to build it in 5 simple steps. So a shot list is something either you're going to give to your friends because you're using Wedding Mix, or you're going to work with your photographer or your videographer to come up with the shot list of the moments that are most important to you to remember about your wedding. So really, when I say I have 5 simple tips, the basic thing is that there are really 5 simple questions you want to ask yourself so you know what to include on your shot list. So the first one is, how long is your wedding? Are you having a destination wedding in Cancun, or let's see, we've seen some in South Africa, in Europe, destination weddings in Maine and Canada. So when you have a destination wedding, people are coming for, you know, more than just the day. They're coming for several days. And that means you might want to have more on your shot list than if the wedding was just that day. The other option is if you're having a multicultural wedding, like a South Asian wedding. We did a great one for Birju. So he had the Mendi, he had, all different ceremonies that were going on, and you want to make sure you include all of this in your shot list because it's all part of your wedding. And in fact, with the question about how long is your wedding, it would also be, especially if it's a destination, it's getting to your wedding. There's people coming from all over the world, let's say, to your wedding. We had people coming from Australia to ours. So the journey to the wedding is really part of your wedding story as well. And on a multi-day event, you might have sightseeing trips. On a one-day event, you might have different excursions. Like for our wedding, we had our ceremony at noon, and then we had the reception wasn't until 6 o'clock. It was just the way the timing worked out because we had a short engagement. So a lot of our guests headed over to the casino. And that could be something fun to put on the shot list as well. Seeing Grandma pulling I think it's called a one-armed bandit, pulling the slot machine. That was part of your wedding weekend. And those are things you'd want to put in your shot list. Okay, so the next question you'd want to ask yourself is what pre- and post-wedding events do you have? Again, this is all part of your wedding story. So with Wedding Mix, you can start recording on the app as soon as you place the order. So for pre-wedding events, you're going to have rehearsal. Sorry, I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. Okay, so you're going to have rehearsal. You're going to get the cameras the weekend of the wedding, but you're also going to have lots of guests who can use their phones as well and use the shot list in there. So you're going to have the rehearsal. Again, I had mentioned the Mendi if it's a South Asian wedding. There's the getting ready. And don't forget, there's the boys getting ready and the girls getting ready. We had a great video that we edited where the bride showed kind of a he said, she said, and there was the getting ready of the girls with, applying their eyelashes and getting their makeup on for hours, and exactly at the same time that was going on, the guys were drinking on the golf course. And it was just really funny to see the guys horsing around, the girls spending all this time meticulously planning. So those are some great pre-wedding events you want to have on there. You might have an after party. We've had some where the wedding reception was at a super fancy place, but then they went out to a bar and a dance club afterwards. And that would be cool to put in there. Also, the morning after, if you have a lot of out-of-town guests, you might have a brunch going on. Oh, and lastly, of course, the biggest post-wedding event of all is the honeymoon. So you would want to include your honeymoon in your wedding video. So that would be on your shot list for yourself, not to forget to include, because that's part of your wedding. It was all this planning went into it. So for our honeymoon, we went to oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. And then we went to Oregon, and we went camping and mountain climbing and skiing. So you want to make sure that you include all of that. Hold on just a second. Guys, I can't have you talking in here at all during the webinar. So you would want to include, for us, we had a 2-week trip. So all of that you would want to put in your wedding video. Okay, so the next thing is your planning events, and this is what a lot of people tend to leave out of their shot list, although let me just check if there were any questions first. Okay. And my phone is apparently calling me, but we will ignore said phone. Okay, so your planning events. So this would be, like I said, when you order Wedding Mix, you're going to get cameras the weekend of your wedding, but you can also use the app from as soon as you order. So you would want to include your bachelorette, your bridal shower, if you're having a hen party or a couple's shower, anything like that, you want to include all of that in your shot list. There were some great ones with the couples all went to see a Cubs game, and it was an entire excursion. Or we have another bride who's going on a camping trip. taking the whole bridal party on a camping trip. Of course you'd want to include that in your wedding video. It's kind of your last hurrah with all your friends. Also, as part of planning, you're going to have your cake tastings, your venue walkthroughs. All of those are fantastic events that you want to include. It's all part of your planning. And it's also part of everything you're doing is preparation, right? Because you're only doing your wedding once. And it's only once in your life. You have this huge pot of money, and you kind of get to spend it however you want. So that's all part of the story of your wedding. Yes, it's the weekend, but it's also everything leading up to it. Okay, the next question you would ask is, what is the most unique thing about your wedding? So if you close your eyes and you picture your wedding being featured on your favorite wedding blog, you know, Offbeat Bride or Style Me Pretty or Wedding Chicks, and if they're featuring your wedding, what's the headline? What are they talking about with your wedding? So is it a DIY extravaganza? Is that what's unique about your wedding? If that's the case, you want to make sure that you capture in your shot list all those DIY projects. For my own wedding, we did invitations. I made the cake. I made the dress. Like, it was a little bit crazy and over the top with DIY, but those are all things that are wonderful to relive. I mean, I cut 19 yards of tulle making my wedding dress. It was crazy. It was just downright crazy. And that would have been really fun to see the progress of the wedding dress, even in, you know, fast motion or something like that, as part of my wedding video. Something else that might be unique about your wedding is how far guests are coming from. We did one wedding that was in Jamaica, and the bride was from Kansas and the groom was from Sweden. So there were people literally coming from all over the world. And that would be kind of fun to almost have a scavenger hunt or an interview with, you know, who came the furthest, and have each guest announce where they're coming from, or maybe take a photo or a video of them in their airport and have just like a quick montage of all that. And it's really something personal to get your guests involved in your wedding. And another thing with who is attending, for our wedding, it was our grandma's last event. So think about who is so special to you that's going to be at your wedding, and make sure you get interviews with those people. With Wedding Mix, we send out interview cards with specific questions that you can ask the guests. So things, and those are things you want to ask those special people. So it could be, what is their secret to a happy marriage? If it's your grandparents, it could be memories of you as a child. If it's your best friend from growing up, have them share an embarrassing story. One of the interview questions we have is, how can he get out of the doghouse, or how can she sweet talk him? So make sure you interview those guests as part of your shot list. I'm going to check for questions one more time. Let's see. Okay, we're good. I see Caitlin had asked, what's the best way to recommend people download the app for the wedding day? So what you want to do, I actually have a tutorial on the blog. So if you look up Tell Friends About Your Wedding Mix DIY wedding video, there are a bunch of tips from other brides on how to tell everyone about it. And it's basically, you're launching a PR campaign and you're letting people know to use your app, to use your shot list. But even if you're not using Wedding Mix, you want to let people know that you do want to get all their photos and videos. Wedding Mix just makes it a lot easier. But on that particular tutorial, there are printable table cards. There's an email template that you can send to people. There's a spreadsheet of how to tell people what shots are particularly important to you. So make sure you check that out. It's on the blog, and just in the search field, look for how to tell your friends about the Wedding Mix DIY wedding video. Okay. So let's see. So the fifth question you want to ask yourself, and probably the most important, is what moments do you most want to remember on your 5th anniversary? Now, I know it's kind of hard to think about because you're just getting married now, but in 5 years, the memories are going to start fading. What is it about your wedding that's most special, that's most important to you? It can be the most special moment. It can even be something simple like the look in his eyes. Whatever it is, you know, is it your parents' reaction? Is it your grandma there? Is it your flowers? Whatever it is, those are the moments you want to include. Mostly what you want to do is think about your answers to the first 4 questions, and that's what's on your shot list. So again, and I'm scrolling up pretty quick, how long is your wedding? What pre- and post-wedding events do you have? What planning events do you have? So that would be way pre-wedding, the showers, the bachelorette. And what is most unique about your wedding? So when you close your eyes and you picture it, and then you picture yourself on the couch on your 5th anniversary, and you're sitting there, and maybe you have a couple kids on your lap, what is it you want to show them? What do you want to remember? What stories do you have about your wedding? That's what you want to be in your shot list. And I do have a couple of bonus tips I'm going to share with you. Don't make the shot list too long, because this is something either you're going to be sharing with your photographer or videographer, but especially if it's something you're sharing with your friends, you don't really want to put them to work. So you don't want your shot list to be, you know, a 3-page Word doc. I've seen that. It's really too much for your friends. You want to make it simple and fun for them. So on our app, Wedding Mix, we limit it to 255 characters. You just want it to be the highlights. You can always print out another shot list as well for friends. And okay, and the next slide is how to tell your friends about Wedding Mix. The best way I heard was a pre-wedding party that was had with a bunch of guests and the wedding party, and just sit everyone down and talk to them about, hey, I'm my videographer. I would love it if you would take photos and videos of my wedding. And just talk to people one-on-one. Or in a big party setting over some bourbon and beer. And let them know that either you're using the Wedding Mix app or you're using something to get their photos and videos. And you would love it if they would take every crazy, silly moment they possibly can. So telling them in person is probably the best, but also in email you can send links to where you want the photos and videos to go. You can tell people on Facebook. And don't forget, I know a lot of people are leery about posting wedding information on Facebook. You can always have a customized list on Facebook so it only goes to your guests. You can also let people know on your wedding website. And of course, you know, you can always attach it to a bottle of bourbon and send it to your friends. They will definitely read what's on there then. All right, and for our last slide, oh, is it? Nope, it's not. Okay. How to work with your photographer or videographer so that your friends don't photobomb. I mean, it's cool if it's a planned moment, but you also don't want your guests standing in the middle of the aisle with a super huge iPad blocking everyone else, or especially you don't want them blocking the photographer or videographer. So what you want to do is find out where the pros, if you're having a professional photographer or videographer, find out where they're going to be set up for the ceremony and those most important moments, and kind of guide your friends so they're not blocking those moments. And ask the photographer what they would prefer, how they would prefer you to ask your friends about it. I've seen some ceremonies that were unplugged. I've seen a lot where they do encourage the guests to take photos, or the photographer will tell the guests, you know, hey, take 5 minutes, go ahead and take all the photos you want, but then let me have my turn and you put your cameras away. So ask the pros, you know, when they would like your friends to take photos and videos. And then also ask your photographer or videographer if they want to plan some photobomb moments, because some of them are hysterical. So they might have some good ideas of how your friends can purposely get in the way, taking their own photos and videos. All right, I'm going to do one more check for questions. And I think we're all done. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So again, if anyone has any questions, you can either tweet me at Wedding Mix, or you can put a question right here in the questions tab. and I will get to it. I'll stay on for a couple minutes just to see, because I had scheduled it till 8:30, so to see if anyone has any more questions. You can type it in, and I'll check on the event tab as well, see if anyone typed anything in there. Okay. Cool. Alrighty. Well, I think we're about done for tonight. If anybody has any more questions, you can always, like I said, tweet me at WeddingMix, or you can send an email to help@storymixmedia.com. If you have any questions about anything at all, feel free to shoot them my way, and I will get an answer to you. All right. Thanks so much. And Caitlin, if I can't quite tell if you're on tonight, if you are on, you're going to get a free personalized shot list from me. So just email me at help@storymixmedia, because you did go ahead and tweet a question. And send me an email, and I will set you up with your personalized shot list. All right. Thanks so much.